And we are live and local here in North Alabama with Carnivore Scott on an impromptu, just kind of casual basis Tuesday afternoon to discuss a couple of important things. Well, at least important to me, because I have been out looking for information that would deal with signs that I am becoming metabolically healthy. First, though, let me express to you my sincere appreciation for all the well wishes and the notes of support I received based on me not feeling so well last week. Matter of fact, I didn't feel well even in over the weekend. And yesterday I was a little, but today I really feel I'm turning the corner on the man flu. That's right. So I just wanted to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for your prayers, your kind words. I'm feeling better. Life is good. And we're moving out in a rather smart manner and fashion, getting things done. Now, the purpose and the reason for this daytime impromptu conversation. First and foremost, is that I was out looking for some video support, something that would tell me, hey, you're getting healthier based on what your indications are in this or that. I was looking for information. I wasn't finding any information. My my ability to find information that was meaningful to what I was looking for, relevant, what I was looking for was limited, if non-existent. Then I decided, well, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe, I can accomplish the same thing by reversing what all the videos are out there that tell you how you're sick and why you're sick. We go out there to YouTube University, go out to McGoogling, right? And we look for information based on something we received. I mean, sure, sometimes we may sit down and we may idly type away into Google or whatever your search engine is of choice. May type into there and go, hey, riddle me this. But I, I, I wasn't thinking that way. So what I saw and what I looked at was few biomarkers that are telling you you're bad. Maybe if those improve, that could be, you know, translated into you're getting better, you're returning your journey, your country and Western life song is being played backwards, and you're going to get your house back, and your spouse back, and your dog, and your truck. And I think this proper human diet, this proper nutrition, is really doing that. Now, I know there's debate. There are people out there who don't think what we're doing is proper nutrition. But for sure, we can agree. And I have looked into a few different sources, whether they're vegan sources or maybe not vegan, but they're all food, omnivore centric. Just about everybody agrees. The standard American diet of a food pyramid, it's no bueno. It's not good. It's what they feed animals to fatten them up. I don't consider myself an animal, but if what you feed your cattle and your pigs to fatten them up before you take them to market, if what you feed your cattle is grains and breads and starches, sounds like it works. Works on us. It worked on me. So we may not agree about the approach, and that's fine. Reasonable minds can agree to disagree in civil ways. But the standard American diet, the standard Western diet, the diet that is literally killing millions upon millions of people. All right. That doesn't work. Yesterday, I was listening to Dr. Barry, right? And Dr. Barry was talking about um, putting together an organization that's going to be in competition, so to speak, to the ADA. Now, I don't think it's in competition. I don't think the American Diabetic Association is fully and wholly and completely, now I use those words with reason and purpose. In my heart, I don't believe the American Diabetic Association, with recipes on their website that lead to Cheerios and sugar and things like that, is really looking out for the best interests of a diabetic. I think the money they received from their sponsors, be it pharmaceutical company, big farms, Kellogg, Unilever, whoever it is, they're getting their money's worth. It is undeniably clear. If you have prediabetes or diabetes type 2, a high grain, high carb, mostly carb diet is not good for you. And I have no idea why the ADA continues to do it. But Dr. Barry has talked about putting together the American Diabetes Society or something along those lines, another organization. So I'm all into that. As soon as he makes his 501c3, I'm writing a check and it's going to him, or going to that foundation, I should say, because we need doctors advocating for healthy things for patients. If fire department showed up at your house when it's on fire and started just saying, well, that fire doesn't look like it's all that big or bad and doesn't really warrant 3 trucks and the ambulance. So, hey guys, throw on 100 units of fire. Well, that's what's happening when you put that insulin. You jam that insulin or probably in your fat pad down here in your stomach at the table in the restaurant as you're eating your cheesecake. Well, I just have to dial up another 25 units of this fast acting insulin, and I can eat all this cheesecake I want. You're going to have a heart attack, get your digits and your limbs amputated. You're going to die a horrible death. I feel for you because you've been manipulated by food and pharma and medical societies. Everybody's making money off you. It's just the way it is. I'm not alone in this. A lot of doctors, a lot of science. One day, as Dr. Barry was saying, one day some attorney is going to get the idea to do a class action lawsuit against Kellogg's. And they're going to do a discovery. And they're going to find out for at least 10 years or more, they have known that their product, and they have designed their product to be addictive, and all that will come out. And then all of a sudden everybody's going to go, oh no, oh no. Anyway, to the story, to the point. There is a point. All right. I'm putting a video. It'll be out pretty soon, so you don't have to go through all this. But I have found there are 4 primary metabolic markers that you yourself can be in control of to know is and are your efforts to get healthy doing anything. Now, I started out doing carnivore for serious, keto carnivore in February. Here we are now in the latter half, 2/3 of April have gone by. So let's go ahead and say 4 and 3, 7 weeks now. I'm down 25 pounds. Meh. I've lost that 25 pounds before, right? I'm not, ooh, yay, about those 25 pounds. But it's 25 pounds, and I'll take it. Also, I've been dealing with a diagnosis of fatty liver. Yeah, that's right. I got a fatty liver. Can't get no respect. I got a fatty liver. I'm a fat guy. Am I so fat I can't move? No. Am I so fat I can't buy clothes? No. Can I take care of hygiene? Yeah. But my belly's over my belt. Found out I have fatty liver, got some ultrasounds, got a fatty liver. Got some CT scans, I got a fatty liver. Doesn't matter how you look at it, I got a fatty liver. All right. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? So I do some reading, I do some research. I say, exercise. Well, I'm not a guy who exercises too much anymore. I've got a few issues. It's okay. I'll get there. I'll get over them. Or you watch your diet or you do them a combination. Oh, there's one more thing. One more, just itty bitty little thing. You got to stop drinking. You can't have any alcohol. Zero. None. Zilch. If you have a fatty liver and you're drinking juices and eating lots of fruits and eating lots of sugars, well, here's your sign. You can't do that. So, fatty liver guy, taking care of my diet. I'm moving more. I'm not exercising, but I'm moving more. I got a little exercise band down there. I do a little bit of stretchy, pushy things, but not real like going to the gym and sweating to the oldies. But I'm doing a little something, appropriate for my age. I'm 61. I'll be 62 this August. So looking at the things, I said, what can I measure? Now, I have taken and had a glucose monitor, and I used my glucose monitor to stick my finger and measured my glucose many, many, many times, like hundreds of times. But a couple weeks ago, I went out and got one of these Keto Mojo. That's right, a little Keto Mojo. And you just hit the little button and you stick in a strip. You can't really see because the glare. I apologize. But you stick a strip in here, you bleed on it, and bada boom, bada bing, you get a reading. And this is 2 units in one. Put one strip in for your ketone, put another strip in for your glucose. I don't know. I probably spent $60 for this and a introductory supply of the little strips. And I won't spend a lot of time on that. But what's neat about it is it came with an application. And here's the application. And my application, you go ahead and you link it up and you can tell your ketones and your glucose. And they figured out a formula, real smart people, figured out a formula to tell you what to call your glucose ketone index, your GKI. And I have been doing that since the 12th, each day in the afternoon, a few hours after lunch, an hour or so before dinner. So I'm not getting that morning time, fasted all night. Who knows what the a dawn effect is going to do to my glucose. This is kind of like 2:30, 3 o'clock every afternoon, maybe from 2:30 to 4. I try to get it in there, right? And first day I did it back on the 12th, my GKI was 4, and it says I was in a moderate level of ketosis. So you have no ketosis, you have a moderate ketosis, right? Like your nutritional ketosis could be maybe synonymous, and then you have high therapeutic ketosis. Like I'm trying to get healthy, I got some problems. Well, I started off in the medium range, and then one day, as my glucose got high, I had my only had zero point 0.5 millimoles of ketones, and my glucose was 110, so I wasn't there. But last night, yesterday, the day before, that was last night's 3.5 on the ketones, glucose 88. We'll come back to that one. Here's another one. GKI 3.0 had them what is that? 1.7 millimolar of ketones and 94 glucose, 2 in the ketones and what was that? 79 on the glucose, getting better. So I'm noticing that I'm getting better, but one thing I think has had a big impact. 7 weeks of low to no carbs. All right. Now, if a mushroom or an onion ends up on my steak or on my hamburger, I ain't too proud. I'm going to eat them. And I do. And I like them. Yes, I do. But, hey, no more cake, no more candy, no more washing fruit cake down with eggnog or spiked eggnog, right? Um, None of that stuff. No potatoes, no rice, no noodles, nothing. But, like I said, a little onion, a little mushroom, that can happen. Well, I've been doing this for a while, and they say your body should respond. And I also have the urine strip, so I can find out. It's a rough order magnitude of ketones being excreted through the kidneys, telling you that yes, your body made them, and your body didn't keep them. Now, when you go through fat adaptation, you might not keep a lot of them because your body's like, I don't know what to do with them. But when you get adapted to it, your body will start using them. So you may be making them, not excreting them, and then think, well, I'm not excreting them, so I'm no longer making ketones. And that would be untrue. By having a ketone meter, I'm reading what's in my blood. What's in my blood, I feel better. It's more relevant, more precise. So 7 weeks, doing well. Last week on tax day, what a great day to start something. If nothing sticks in your mind, if you're starting something new, pick the 15th of April. You remember that day. You generally do. Anyhow, I decided I was going to stop doing artificial sweeteners. Now, if you watched the previous video of mine, I've had a 27 plus year affair with artificial sweeteners. I drink a lot of coffee. I used to drink a whole bunch of coffee, too much coffee, stupid amounts of coffee. Not 1 or 2 cups, but 2 pots a day. And then I would put a tablespoon or 2 of sugar in that coffee. So maybe I just like coffee flavored sugar water. All right, I got it. Not great. But I used to be very active. I was in the military and I was active for being in the military. So I really was keeping active. So I was doing pretty good. Anyway, I get rid of the sugar one time. I went to a course, learned some stuff, got rid of the sugar, replaced it with sweet and low. Now, I did that sweet and low like crazy. I get plenty of sweet flavor. Turns out we would go forward 27 years working all this stuff, trying to deal with the fatty liver, kind of got some type of impediment, can't figure it out for the life of me. Could be that I'm not exercising, but at least I'm moving and doing. I go and I listen to something, and the scientists say if you have uh, a sweet thing land on your tongue, your pancreas starts to secrete insulin. Now remember that. That's sweet on the tongue, insulin from the pancreas. Well, yeah, pancreas, if I want to be exact. For the pancreas. I'm worried about too much insulin. Glucose isn't a problem for me. I eat glucose, my body gets rid of the glucose. It might go a little high. I may not feel great, but my body's still working. I'm pre-diabetic. I'm not type 2 or type 1 diabetic. So I don't necessarily have a glucose problem. I have an insulin problem. Most of us. If your belly is bigger or hangs over your belt, if you're Caucasian and your belly hangs over your belt, you probably have an insulin challenge. You may be somewhat insulin resistant. Now, oh, by the way, I'm not a doctor, didn't go to medical school. This is not medical advice, but it's fact, whether I say it is or you go to get it from your doctor. If your belly is over your belt, you probably have some form of insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia. Dr. Ben Bickman, go look his videos up. The guy is world-renowned, top dude in the whole world who can explain a lot of this to you. Anyhow, so I am concerned about insulin and not glucose. So that's why I want to know. I had a test of my insulin. I go to the VA tests me, and over the years, every couple of years, and my insulin's been really good. I've had insulin down to 5. That's ideal insulin. Fatty liver. Insulin was ideal. Then I had my insulin done this last February, and my insulin's gone from 5 to 6 to 6.5 to 9.5. That's not so ideal. You want to keep it down to single digits. There's a trend line here. I don't like this trend line. So, as I'm reading and listening that you put sweet stuff in your mouth, and a little bit of insulin gets out. Now, your body's looking for glucose. There's no glucose around there, but you got that insulin running around just being like a little hooligan. I'm going to get those hooligans off my lawn. So, what do? I figure out light bulb goes on. Boing! Every time I'm taking a drink from my sippy cup, like here's my little sippy cup of, well, a little bit of tea. Every time I had that and I had the saccharin in it, my pancreas going with extra insulin. Now, I'm just eating a high meat diet. I'm eating an even higher fat diet. So there's no reason for the insulin to be out there at all. I was like, riddle me this. Then I do the reading. And my book of ignorance gets a little smaller. I have 2 books. My book of knowledge, itty bitty book of knowledge, and my book of ignorance. And it starts here and goes way out here. So the book of ignorance is smaller, and I realize I have a self-inflicted pancreatic wound. If you eat artificially sweetened foods, thinking you've done yourself a good job, oh, good job, pat yourself on the back. If you think you've done that, well, I'm sorry you didn't, because your mouth is saying to your pancreas, hey, some sweet's coming. Get ready for it. They got a whole bunch of SL1, SL2, and other neuro transmitters that are working and tell them that. You can't fake it out. You can't like do a head fake and say, ah, ha, ha, gotcha. No, it's not going to work that way. So if you're eating sweet foods, expect your insulin to be higher than it would be if you didn't eat sweet food. Now, if you eat sugar, if you're eating fruit, if you're drinking your fruit juice, well, sorry, it's not good for you. That apple juice we've been giving our kids for years, and then they get cranky, it ain't good for them. The fructose, another discussion. So I dropped off the saccharin, and this week, it's like I started playing that country and western song backwards. Yep, got my dog back, got my truck back. I'm real lucky. My spouse never left me. She's a keeper for sure. But things are getting better. And all of a sudden, my glucose is staying lower where I needed it to be in the 80s most of the time. I'll eat, it go up for an hour and back down again. So my glucose response is getting better, and I'm with my ketones going up. Ketones can't be present in higher insulin. The two of them can't happen. They just are antithetical to each other, right? They're indirectly proportional, I guess you could say. So I'm realizing finally, after 5 years on and off messing around, I am finally realizing benefits because I've turned off the last two big hurdles. There's one more big hurdle, but the last 2 big hurdles, sweetness, I'm not saying sugar, sweetness, and hey, last day of normal, how are you? Welcome in. I turned off the sweetness, and I turned off the alcohol. Only thing I have left is to get more physical exercise involved. More. I got to get it out there. I got to get to doing some serious resistance training. But I was sick last week. I'm getting better this week. I think the following week I will. Now, what precipitated me getting sick? I went to a friend of ours, a recent widow, with a couple guys. We cut down like 5 or 7 trees and cut them up into pieces. And most of it ended up in the back of my truck. 2 big old truckloads full of oak and hickory. And I loaded up that truck and I unloaded that truck and stacked that wood all in the same day. And I didn't die. That was exercise. But boy, was I tired after that. And I think I wore myself out, got cold at night, and one of them creepy crawly germs got a hold of me. And well, that's the rest of the story. But I'm better. Mind is good. Body's working. I'm looking forward to some pretty big changes. So the 4 signs, the 4 metabolic markers that you can tell that you're getting back into health, is if your glucose is falling down, if your postprandial glucose curve is improving, if your ketones are rising. Those are two you can measure. Two that you really can't measure, but you can, if you're paying attention, you can realize. One of them is hunger signaling. How hungry are you getting? Right? Now, for the longest time, and my wife will verify this, I don't get hungry. I just don't get hungry. I mean, I have been hungry before. I know what it feels like. But by and large, I don't get hungry. And I should have known something was wrong because they taught us in the military when we're getting ready to go do things. They say, "Hey guys, you got to watch out for each other. Watch out for getting dehydrated. Running around with all that military gear on, running around out in the desert. You never know. You could end up dehydrated. And here are the signs. And the first sign that you might be getting dehydrated is ta-da, the loss of thirst. So why wouldn't it work on other things? The loss of hunger is telling me that my ghrelin and leptin signaling were out of whack. And those are hormones that say, hey, I want to eat. Grr, feed me, ghrelin. And leptin saying, no, I've had enough. I want to lay down. Leave me alone. I'm good. I've had enough. All right, already. Hello, Lisa. How are you? So I should have heard from my own body. If I was paying attention, I would have heard that I wasn't even getting and realizing a need to eat. I was so overfed. Hmm, problematic. So again, if you're looking for feedback to tell you that what you're doing is working, are you getting hungry? Could be. Now, on the other side of that hunger signaling, if you're getting so much fructose in your diet, okay, or too much sugar in your diet, that's going to shut off that signaling thing. It's telling your body, it's telling your mitochondria, don't make all this ATP. It's draining your ATP reserves and your fuel reserves, and it's blocking your ability to burn fat. And now you're out there just being hungry to get more energy in for more energy storage. That's why you can get really tired and still want to eat and get fatter because you've just told your body no more mitochondrial energy. You've drained that tank. So you get the fructose will work against you. All right. So knowing that you're hungry, knowing also then that you've satisfied. You sat down to a big plate of food, you've eaten the plate of food. Hopefully it wasn't standard American Western diet food. And you go, okay, I'm done. You know, I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna put a little cover on my plate. I'm gonna put it into a Tupperware thing. I'm gonna put it in the fridge. I'll eat it later if I'm hungry. But I'm done. Now I'm not quitting because I can only have this little bit of food. No, no. There's no calorie counters in your body. There's no organ that says, okay, 1 little calorie, 2 little calorie, 3 little calorie, 4 little calorie, 10 little calories. There's no adding machine, no abacus in there. You have stretch receptors in your tummy. You have chemical receptors there in your stomach, and you do a denim and tell you, oh, hey, we're good, we're done. You listen to those, you eat enough, you feel filled up, you push away from the table, walk away. All right. You're feeling satiated. If you felt hungry and now you feel satiated, all right, the signaling is working. You can fine tune it. 4 ways. Improve glucose signaling in your glucose measurements, improved and increased ketones in your blood, satiety, hunger. And a fifth bonus. Here's your fifth bonus. I shouldn't use this hand, only have half a thumb. Your fifth bonus right here. There you go. Your fifth bonus. Yeah. Fifth bonus. I wasn't surprised. I've always had that thumb. I just haven't had that one. But your fifth thing is how your sleep is doing. Are you sleeping okay? Are you going to bed? Do you have good sleep hygiene practices? Are you turning off your TV and your tablet an hour or 2 before bed? Are you not exercising 2 hours before bed? Have you had your last drink at least an hour before going to bed? Yeah? Is your mind and your heart, is that mind heart axis, is it like unified, right? Not going to bed angry, not going to bed with your mind working over something at the house or something at a job or interpersonal issues, right? I know one night, a couple weeks ago, me and my bride, we got into a discussion that was heated, and we got through the discussion. Everything was worked out. Emotions were back in check. But I checked my glucose, and my glucose was spiked at 138, which is quite high for me. And I hadn't eaten for a few hours, but my glucose, my fight or flight was ready. I was ready to go. Yeah, buddy. I messed up that night of sleep. That's for sure there, girly. Last day, someday I'll get one of those meters. Yeah, I hope. I really do. I think that instead of paying for borders in the Ukraine, they should just make a national purchase of these items and everybody should be able to get them and the strips. Yeah, that's what I think. If you wanted to make medicine cheaper, give everybody one of these, give everybody the test strips. Tell everybody who gets the age of, let's pick some age. We'll pick some numbers, okay? No, notionally, I would say 22 or 25. We'll pick 25. 25, 30, 35, 40. Every major medical situation you end up in, you would get all that tested. And you'd have your insulin tested, and you would have a C peptide, and you would get all the CRPs, and you would get everything tested to figure out what your metabolic state is. And get away from the stupid glucose model. All right. Glucose model should come after you find out what the metabolic state is and by more than just pinching an inch. Some people can put on 40, 50 pounds of adipose tissue and not have a metabolic problem. Not all fat people, not everybody we see out there who's heavy and obese is metabolically compromised. And about a third of all people who look like they're in good shape are metabolically compromised. If you're from India or an Asian country or a Southwest Asian country, it can take only 15 pounds. I got 15 pounds of fat on my head. You can have 15 pounds of fat and be a raging type 2 diabetic. And you might not even have a belly because genetically, ancestrally, they never carried around extra food because it's always available anyway. Equatorial region, nice and warm. There's food crawling or walking or growing everywhere. Now you go up into the Nordic country, go up to Germany and Poland and further north and all that. You better learn how to pack on some calories because when it comes along, you don't have a refrigerator, you're going to be a hungry and dead person. That's just the way we're designed. It's just how it works. So I think everybody should get one of those meters there. Normal, I really do. I wanted to share this with you all. I wanted to share this newfound knowledge that's been applicable to me, knowledge that has helped me craft and form um, a way to get a checkpoint, if you would, for uh, just, I don't know, knowing what the condition of my condition is. Now, I went ahead and posted a link there in the comments. If somebody already has a camera ready and they want to come on and want to chat for a while, hey, follow that link that's in the chat bar and come on in. I'll be more than happy to have you come in. I'll see you pop up here in the green room and we can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. It doesn't always have to be about diet. I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but I know a little bit about some. Like I said, my book of knowledge is about yay big. And my book of ignorance is like, woo, off the charts. But that's okay. Ignorance is curable if you allow it to be. Don't hold on to too much stuff. Don't be too tribal. That's even to say about people in carnivore. Now I've noticed a lot of carnivore channels of late. You notice trends. I've been following carnivore here on the YouTubes for a while now. And I have to be honest with you, it can be very tribal, just like any other group with fans, which is fanaticism, right? Can be very tribal. Look, if you want to be a vegan, be a vegan. Do I think veganism is long term healthy all of its own without having to take supplements? No, but that's my personal journey. If you want it, great. But I can't tell you to go eat Daisy the cow, and you can't tell me I got to eat the make believe food. It always kind of blows my mind. If meat's so bad, then why do you spend so much time, effort, money, and chemicals to make something that is not meat taste like meat? Maybe I'm just dull-witted. That's probably it. That's it. That's it. That's it. I don't know. But I gotta be honest with you, I'm sure there are people out there for a lot of reasons, a lot of genetic reasons that they're doing well, they like to think, on a vegan-centric diet. For me, not so much. I do much better on a carnivore centric diet. But what's interesting, I heard a statistic as I heard people in the carnivore space talking about this, and they were saying something to the effect and to the tune of, "Hey, if you eat a 70% of your diet from meat sources, you're considered carnivore." Okay, that means 30% doesn't have to be from a meat source, right? If you're eating the fat that comes with the meat, okay. Dr. Sean Baker, one of the big OGs in this whole carnivore movement, he included 100 grams of carbs in his diet because he was doing some repair for his neck because he got hurt in, I want to say, jujitsu. Anyhow, Dr. Paul Saladino, he advocates for a lot of honey and fruit. My thinking is, if it works for you, great, do it. Now, I also believe you have a lot more flexibility when you're not so out of health, out of shape. I mean, I know round is a shape, but it's not the shape that we want to persist in. So, I have this theory where if you draw a bell curve closer to the X and Y axis, you know, closer to the zero line, if you would, a little bit of change yields a little bit of effort yields a lot of change. But after you start getting 2 or 3 or 4 orders of magnitude away from the middle of that bell curve, that distribution, as you get further over here and going this way, a whole bunch of effort, itty bitty amount of return, right? So we all have to figure it out. But I think that this is working well for me. I'm glad I have this new meter, this new keto meter of mine, Keto Mojo. I am not a sponsor. I don't have any affiliate links. I'm just a regular guy trying to do a regular thing. This is what I did. But all things being said, you really can't make a lot of informed decisions if you don't have data. And if the data you're reading is from other people, right? Um, you could be led astray. So normal says, let's get to this real quick. Boom. Healthcare, carnivore healthcare would be amazing. I know it would be absolutely amazing. And maybe at least how about we just say true healthcare, where we really look at what you need. Now, my understanding is there's this phrase and a term, I think we've heard it before. Standard of care. I think standard of care, when I looked it up before, standard of care is a legal term for liability issues. I mean, doctoring isn't perfect. Doctors aren't gods. A good doctor will tell you as much. They don't know everything, but they are real smart. And they have a lot of education and specific training, but they don't know it all. And what happens is a doctor will make a good faith effort and there'll be something that doesn't work. And then someone calls an attorney who knows how to make the word is. How do you define the word is? That type of thing. And then you get this standard of care. Well, if it's not under the standard of care, then you can be sued. And so I think there are a lot of doctors out there, a lot of really good doctors. And I think there are a lot of really good doctors who want to say and do things, but the standard of care. And if you talk about standard of care and law or legal things, you're talking about law things. If you talk about law things, you're talking about people who sit in positions of authority to create those laws and regulations. And if you have that, then you have an influence of lobbyists. And that's where it all gets kind of messy. Used to be a state senator and I was involved in some of that. And I can remember working on bills and passing laws to do the change in scope of practice. And if you change the scope of practice, if I take your practice and I make it wider, that means someone else has got narrower or they have competition and they don't like that. I remember one time I ran a bill for optometrists that ran against ophthalmologists. And the optometrists, they're the ones you go to see to get your eyes checked, get glasses, right? They are the first medical provider who will see you developing glaucoma. And they may see your eye health and your glaucoma for successive years as it gets worse until it gets to a threshold that you go to the ophthalmologist who goes, "Oh, you've got glaucoma. We have to do something about that. Here's a pill." Right? So I ran a bill that would allow optometrists, given some training, to prescribe medication for a person with early onset of that glaucoma. Makes sense. It's like motherhood and apple pie to me. Oh my God. Did the ophthalmologist mafia come after me? We were able to pass the bill. This is a good thing. I stood up there and I made the good fight, good argument. And I said, well, we should make this a law. And it became a law. Well, actually, it changed the scope. Now, the next year, the optometrist, having found a friendly ear to whisper into, they came and said, no, we'd like to now have you run a bill that will allow us to do surgery on the eye. You know, that laser surgery with LASIK, I guess it is, and to remove objects in the eye. And I read it and I listened and I considered and I went, are you out of your mind? They said, oh, we're going to take a whole, ophthalmologists only get, 16 hours of training and we're going to do 20. Yeah. We're going to go to a Holiday Inn Junior on a weekend and we'll get our 8 hours here and 8 hours there and 4 more hours, and we'll have 20 hours. We'll be just like an ophthalmologist. No, I wasn't going to do that because it wasn't just the treatment of that minute factor, but an ophthalmologist is trained for all the possible things that could go wrong. But I said, no, that's a bridge too far. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I love you, but I didn't do it. But if we don't like what's going on in our healthcare industry, it's not necessarily just the doctors. It is necessarily the decision makers and the people they are listening to influence their decisions. We saw that with the virus that shall not be named, right? We saw that for a few years, right? The the global right? Where science wasn't supposed to be questioned anymore. Just listen to Fauci, right? So we know that medical practice can be highly influenced by political and financial things. We know that. So let's not beat up the doctors. Let's learn how to lobby our elected officials. I would love to run a lobbying clinic for people because I've seen how to do it wrong and how to be effective. But got to pick one, right? So I really do believe that we could do more for our healthcare by holding our elected officials at the state and federal level. Now, your county commissioner probably is not going to have a lot to do with your medical care. They could, in little bitty ways, some services, but not the actual medical care. But if we wanted to really impact medical care, we have to vote with our dollars. And like Normal was saying here, it would be great to have a healthcare that had a carnivore or at least anything antithetical to the standard American diet. If we could get that taken care of, if we could get the food pyramid not changed, removed, all right, removed. And if we could get people to show up in the offices and at the hearings and really hold their elected officials accountable to say, why did you vote for this? And we need to get rid of omnibus bills. If we could have one amendment, if we could do one thing, omnibus bills would have to be gone. I believe each bill should stand on its own. You shouldn't get one bill and stuff it with all the rest. They go, we had to pass them all. If you want to get your little pony and you wanted to get your building and you want to get your tanks, well, we had to pass it all together. That's stupid. We're spending stupid amounts of money, sending stupid amounts of money to places anywhere but here in the United States. We have hungry people, we have homeless people, we have people who are hurting, people who can't get medical care that's out of reach, out of touch, and out of everything, out of this world, and a lot of self-inflicted pain because people are fighting over pennies and letting dollars slip away. But that's another story, another discussion for another day. It's a beautiful Tuesday. How's it where you all are at? How about you, Lisa? You still there? Anybody out there want to jam something up here in the comment section about how they're doing? Where you dialing in from? I'm here in North Alabama, outside of Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama, and the home of Redstone Arsenal and the Marshall Flight Center, where we have the Space and Rocket Center. Okay, Normal, out of Ohio. Now, what part of Ohio? I used to drive through Zanesville on a regular basis on I-80, I want to say it is. Well, what I meant on regular, like semi-annually. And I love the rolling hills around Zanesville. That's what I know about Ohio. And my daughter lives not too far from Cincinnati. Yeah, from that Cincinnati airport. Yeah, Cincinnati. But I don't know a lot more about Ohio other than that. But and it gets cold in the wintertime. I do know that. And they have a football team there. I can't remember the Buckeyes, I guess. I'm just kidding. I'm well aware of the football team. All right. You said your husband was raised in Zanesville. You live an hour north of Columbus. Oh, that's nice. Very nice. Oh, you're still here and from Indiana, if I remember correctly there. Yeah, Indiana. All right, Lisa. Hey, Lisa, how's your journey going? I know you seem to had a couple of spits and sputters there, you know. You're still doing well? You're still pursuing things? Is this whole way of eating and the lifestyle, is it something that you can lean into yet? I know it's not for everybody. It all depends on who you have around you. It's hard to do sometimes because the people around you don't want to help you out. And like I told you, my brother lives in Indiana. He lives up near Elkhart, Indiana, way, way up to the north. Yeah, he still up there, and he went there from Arizona, and he is an electrician up there. Yeah, yep, that's what he does. I'm trying to make sure that I am not remiss or behind or otherwise in trouble with anything. It looks like it's all good to me, but yeah, Indiana, another place, Indiana, Ohio. Hey, there have been a couple meetups out in that area. Have either of you, Normal or Lisa, have you gone to any of the meetups? I know Carrie's had a meetup or two. I know I know there's a meetup in Indianapolis here recently, or going to be one in Indianapolis. That's awesome. I don't know, was that last weekend? It was Hoosier Carnivore. Yeah, Hoosier Carnivore was doing a meetup also at the lake up there. All right, I quit late when I was doing it, and ironically, I am more keto. There you go. Meal prepping. Okay. I don't know for you, Lisa. I we my wife and I were empty nesters, and because of that, meal prep. The hardest part about meal prep is figuring out what we want, pulling the stuff out in advance to make sure we can do it, and then cleaning up afterwards. But it's really not a big deal. But I'm glad it's helping you. Normally, you haven't been to any. I went to Carnivore Kip's meetup, and it was amazing. It was amazing because, uh, okay, so let's play through a scenario. We'll do a little word game here, right? Hi, I'm Scotty. I'm going to do a carnivore meetup. Come on down to my place, and we're going to have fun at a restaurant or a park, and I'm going to cook for you. We've been talking. And yeah, nothing weird about that. Nothing dangerous or freaky or scary, right? I know, right? Internet friends getting together. little spidey sense in the back going bleep 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 bleep, and so it is a little weird. It's a little abnormal. Do you love having canned food and beef jerky ready to go? There you go. That'll work. Like they say, a hot dog and bologna diet is going to be better than an avocado strawberry salad diet in the long run. It's going to be better. Can it get tuned up more? Sure it can. Sure it can. The canned meats work. Well, we do a lot of tuna and canned chicken. My wife found a way to make chicken nuggets that actually have chicken. She gets a can of that Swanson chicken meat, the mixed dark and white meat, drains it, puts it in a bowl. Then she adds in 1 or 2 eggs, probably 1 egg per can, 2 eggs, 1 or 2 cups of cheese, a little itty bitty. Sometimes she'll use almond flour, sometimes she won't. She glums it all together, a little salt, a little pepper, glums it together, makes little tiny balls, puts it on a baking sheet with parchment paper, pats it down, puts it in the oven, lets it cook. The cheese holds it all together, and you have a cheese and chicken McNugget, a nugget, I guess I should say. So they work good. So we use canned food, and my wife is absolutely in love with Spam. And she'll cut it up, dice it up, and then she'll use that and add it to things she's eating. And I will add some of her Spam, the little well-fried piece of Spam. I will add it to my dinner. You love deer hot dogs. I've not had deer hot dogs. I've had plenty of deer, but not a deer hot dog. Eh, I have to find out, see if I can do that. Oh, you can the meat yourself. That's awesome. Well, obviously, you're using a hot pressure canning process. You got to know what you're doing with canned meat. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yep. Spam, 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 spam. Yeah. I know it's funny about spam. I remember as a kid, we'd eat the spam. It was a cheap meat. A pressure canner, I see that. And we'd eat spam. And my dad, he would cut it up real thin, normally on a Saturday afternoon, mom taking a nap. Dad would cut up the Spam into thin slices, put it in a pan, fry it, get out some Wonder Bread, and then we put mustard on the Spam and put it in the bread, and we have fried Spam sandwiches or fried bologna sandwiches. Some of my fondest memories. And I was so thin. Mm, mm, mm. But, yeah, I like my fried meat for sure. You haven't had Spam since how? Oh, your grandma loves Spam. Well, it's got a lot of salt. It's really gonna hit the taste buds. And, but I remember opening up Spam when I was young, and there'd be that slimy stuff in there, that slimy stuff, and now I know. That's all the collagen. That's all the stuff that we're craving to have. That's the boiled knuckle that we need, you know? I made up my own bone broth. I took a chicken, I plucked all the meat off the chicken pretty much, and I just threw the chicken and the skin in a pot and, let it cook off about, I don't know, 14, 15 hours, strained everything out of there, I got nice and clean, and then I put it in the refrigerator and I let it set overnight. And when I went out in the morning, I looked at the fridge and it had a nice cap of fat on the top. It was schmaltz, that nice chicken fat, right? And underneath it had that. And I was like, oh. And then I put that in some soup I was making, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, that was good. And that's the collagen, what we need Jello for, right? Yeah. You can make your own Spam. All right. Make some canned homemade Spam. I wanted to make a loaf or my own bologna, and it's ham and pork. So okay. And what I really want to do, I bought some calf liver the other day. And I'm gonna make my own pate, calf liver or beef liver pate. Just gonna pan fry it in some butter, cut out the chewy parts, and then I'm going to get some tallow and I'm going to get some butter and I'm going to fry up some onions and I'll put it all together and blend it till it's smooth and put it in a container to make a brick. And I'll make my own liver pate. What I want to do is I want to make I have a little candy, what do you call that? The little uh rubber, and it's not rubber. What is it? Y'all remember what's the stuff you can put by the silicone mold? I have a silicone mold for like little candy bites. And what I want to do is fill that with a pate, put it in the freezer. I'll pull it out and put them all back into a baggies, not individual baggies, but a baggie of 4 or 5 per. And that way, every time I want a little bit of pate, I just pull out a baggie of pate. I will let it fall and put on my plate, and I will have a pate party. And yeah, I know I probably shouldn't do that, should I? No, I mean, I shouldn't try to rhyme like that. But I like, and it helped my fat, and it's better than fat bombs, right? That's what I'm thinking. So we're in here today. We're just talking about some things we like to eat, things we like to prepare, some experiences we've been having on the carnivore-ish, ketovore-ish diets, and how we can measure and qualify and quantify what we had. Earlier, I was talking about the metabolic markers, whether you can check your glucose, your ketones, your hunger signaling, and your satiety, and your sleep. That's for people who might be checking in. Oh, good dog treats too. Oh yeah, my dogs would love that. There's no doubt. I have 2 wonderful little doggies, and they are mixed breed, and they will eat whatever I put in front of them. They are good on eating. There is no finicky part to my little dogs. They're a mixture of Australian shepherds and blue heelers. They like to run. Yes, they do. They like to play the PALL game. I really can't say that out loud, and I'm really not supposed to spell it because I think they know what the Bravo Alpha Lima Lima really is. We have to use creative ways to get around it so they don't go and start wanting to play. Yeah. So I'm on a Tuesday, and we've got about 59 minutes here on this live. Now, what I want to do later throughout the day, I'm going to finish editing a video where I talked about many of these same things because live videos go into one section of YouTube and you put up your regular videos, it goes into another section. And one of the things I've done recently is I've gone ahead and I have uh, downloaded a software editing tool called DaVinci Resolve. I say that again, a DaVinci Resolve. And this DaVinci Resolve is, I would say it's comparable to Premiere Pro or um, what Apple has for their software editing, better than iMovie even. But it is complex, probably more complex than me, and very demanding of resources of my computer, and the learning curve is straight up. However, I really like it. And the other tool I was using, I wasn't digging it. I just wasn't digging it. So I'm using DaVinci Resolve just so I can make higher quality videos and do better cuts and edits in it. But I will get the basis of what we've discussed here out in that video later on today. And I sure would appreciate if you all have a chance, Normal and Lisa, if you have a chance, watch that video even for a bit, let it play in the background and push that like button or push the share button. I sure would appreciate it because that helps get the information out, and I think I have something that is valuable to share with other carnivores, other people who have to do things. So I see that Normal that you have to get ready to go. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for spending some of your time here with us, actually, a lot of your time. And I'm going to use that as a wonderful segue then to sign off with everybody and let everybody get some time back into their day. I really appreciate you staying here, hanging out with me while I discuss these various things. If you have comments or input or something you'd like to share, leave a comment. Or if you need be, go ahead and email me. It's on my YouTube website. It's my username, Carnivore Scott, all one word, at gmail.com. And I would love to hear from you. And we'll see what we can do. And maybe one day we'll be able to collaborate. Maybe one day, Lisa, you and I can get together and we can just talk together and talk about things of interest, and how, like you said, you stop focusing on being carnivore and you're probably being more carnivore. All right. Okay. You all take care. I'll see you around somewhere in another carnivore conversation, maybe back on a live stream. Until then, God bless. Take care and bye bye.